Hi, it's Noelle from My Interview Buddy, and I wanted to talk to you guys today about something that I hear about all the time in the professional development world, and that is that you should stay at a company for at least 1 year before moving on to your next position. This is kind of older information, but I still see it circulated all the time. I think it's just being pushed, especially on millennials and the following generation, because we do have the reputation of leaving a position when we're not happy and not sticking it out just because. And I really actually want to emphasize on why that's the right thing to do. So I get it. The whole issue came to be because of the whole job hopper issue, which is essentially people saying if you leave a job before the end of a year, when you go to the next position, they're going to see you as a job hopper. They're not going to think that you're going to want to stay there long term. And while you might get a job, it may mess up your trajectory in the company because they think that you may not be super invested. They may push for you to prove a little bit harder than anybody else that you're there for the long haul. It can just make for a bad move professionally. And I think that that can be true in a lot of circumstances, but I don't think that it's ever worth staying at a company where you feel like the environment is toxic and you're unhappy all the time. So if you've been in a company for 4 or 5 months, things are not working out, you're not able to sleep, you have a manager that's micromanaging you, that's sending you messages all times of the day, you have working with people that are racist or sexist or, not very inclusive, or just like a general toxic work environment, or even you started a new position and it's not at all what you thought it was, and what you're actually doing you hate. When any of this stuff happens, it doesn't make sense to continue to come to a job every single day that you can't stand. It's crazy to just stay there because all of these professionals are saying you need to wait a year. Don't wait a whole year because it takes so much away from you. It follows you into your personal life because this heavy amount of stress really lingers. It can hurt you in your body. It can hurt you emotionally. It just really sits heavily on us when we're working, going to a place where we spend more time than we do at home and we're miserable. It's unacceptable to continue to live that way just because we want to be viewed in a certain light. I think that the way that you want to tackle this, if you need to leave a company before the year is up, is if you've only been there for a very, very short amount of time, you can leave it off of your resume. And if somebody asks, hey, what have you been doing since you left your last job? I would explain, I started working at XYZ company. The job description didn't match what the job was, and I decided that it wasn't a great fit, so I'm looking into another option. Or I got there and the work culture wasn't the way that it was described when I researched it online, and I could see within a few weeks that it wasn't going to be a good fit. The thing is, when you're talking about what the issues are in this company, I want you to keep in mind that you have to ask them at the end of the interview all the issues that you were having at the other company. You want to ask them to make sure that this company doesn't have the same problems. So if you left the other company because there was a cultural issue, at the end of the interview when they ask if you have any questions, you're going to want to say, yeah, so like we talked at the beginning of this interview about my experience at my current company, there's a really bad issue with work culture. It's something that's really important to me to make sure that I'm in a place where I'm able to contribute, that I'm, seen, or whatever the issue is that you are having. Can you talk to me a little bit about what your work culture is like? I think it's a good question to ask anyway, but whatever specific issue that you were having at your old job that was bad enough for you to need to leave, I would definitely want to clear the air with that when you go on an interview. If you've been there for some time, some months, you want to make sure that you are indicating in your resume what you did that was impactful or a good contribution to the company, whatever you're able to put. Don't worry about trying to make it as long as the rest of the parts of your resume. It's okay if it's just a couple of bullet points if you haven't been there that long, but you want to be able to indicate something that you did there that was positive. I think that's absolutely fine. And just be prepared to answer that question because you should be asked, why did you leave that company? So be prepared with an answer for it. Don't make it, you don't have to put any of the emotions that's in it. This is not what I was expecting. What I really want to do is exactly what you have on your job description. I just want to make sure that this company is also the right fit. Can I ask you some follow-up questions about your organization? I think that it's just so important to just go ahead and give it a shot, because like I said before, you don't want to be at a place where every single day you're miserable. If you wake up and you cannot stand the idea of going to work, it is time to get out of there. I've definitely shared on this channel before, and I'll share again, but I worked at a job that I appreciated, but I was miserable there. The pay was good, but I just liked to complain. That was the only thing I liked about the job. I was stressed out all the time. I had no passion in what the product was. It just wasn't, there was nothing wrong with the company. I was just not the right fit anymore. But I kept staying there because the benefits are pretty good. It was close to home. I got along with everybody, and I just stayed and stayed. And then I got very, very sick, and I needed to eventually get brain surgery because I developed a brain tumor during this time. I'm not saying that anything that dramatic would happen to you, but I feel like when you are around something that's toxic all the time, or you're under a tremendous amount of stress, it hurts us physically. And I think that even though I like to talk about professional development and all this career stuff, your health is really tied into all that, and there's nothing that's more precious than that. So it's never worth staying at a company just because you haven't been there for a year. And I really think that's outdated information. People leave companies all the time because they're not the right fit. I think it's really important to stay at a company until you find something that's new. Sometimes that's not an option. You just have to hop out of there, but don't stay just because it's been less than a year. It would be such a waste of your time, and you deserve to work for a company and be in a position that you love. If you find that what is going on is that you're not liking the role, maybe what you need to do is to completely transform your career and switch into an industry that's different than where you are now. If that's where you find yourself, I would love to talk to you more, because in the next week or so, I will be launching out the Career Swap One-on-One course. So I'll definitely be getting into the details on that soon, but I did want you to know about that, because if you're looking to get to that next level in your career, you're not happy where you are, it's not just the company, but it's what you're doing day to day that is just boring you, or it doesn't seem like the right fit anymore. I have a tool for you to help you get to a job that you're really excited about. Thanks.